Hartsfield-Jackson Atlanta International Airport is the busiest airport in the world and has been for almost 30 years. Being the largest hub for Atlanta, as well as the largest hub in the world, and for Delta, the airport has had to deal with congestion for decades. With development surrounding all four sides and interstates 75, 85, and 285 bordering the airport to its east, west, and south respectively, there's a limited amount of space that they have to work with. What's going on, everyone? My name's Cool Titanium68, and on our first ever Aviation Friday video of the year, we're going to discuss Hartsfield-Jackson's current master plan, ATL next. Originally named Candler Field, this airport sat on what was originally an abandoned racetrack named the Atlanta Speedway. This isn't to be confused with the Atlanta Motor Speedway located in Hampton, Georgia. It started off as a 5-year rent-free lease on the 287-acre plot of land and was named after Coca-Cola tycoon and former mayor Asa Candler. Sorry, not Chandler. The first flight happened in September 15th, 1926, with a Florida Airways mail plane flying from Jacksonville. From its inception, it was a busy airport. By the end of 1930, it was the third busiest airport behind New York City and Chicago for regular departing and arriving flights at 16, respectively. So 16 departing, 16 arriving. Its first control tower was built in 1939, and by that point, it was operating 14 weekday flight departures, 10 from Eastern Airlines and 4 from Delta. In 1940, Candler Field was set up as a joint military airfield with the U.S. Army Air Forces. The Air Force used the airport to serve many types of transient aircraft, so that they would work on that before sending them over to Europe. During World War II, the airport doubled in its size and set a record of 1,700 takeoffs and landings in a single day, making it the nation's busiest in terms of flight ops. The Army airfield would subsequently close at the end of the war, though, but the buildings that the Army built would still be used as terminal buildings, and by 1948, there was one building that had more than 1 million passengers pass through that building. Then in 1942, the airport was renamed to Atlanta Municipal Airport, and it would be another 15 years before the airport saw its first jetliner, which was a prototype Sud Aviation Caravelle that was touring the country. The first scheduled turbine airliners were the Capital Viscounts in June 1956, with the first scheduled jet service coming in 1959 with Delta's DC-8s. The first transatlantic flight was the Delta Pan Am Interchange DC-8 to Europe, with a stop over in Washington Dulles starting in 1964, with the first nonstop international flight coming from Eastern Airlines to Mexico City and Jamaica in 1971 and 1972 respectively. Nonstop flights to Europe started in 1978, and then to Asia in 1992. Now, in 1957, work began on a new $21 million terminal that would open on May 3rd, 1961. Consisting of 6 piers radiating from a central building, it was the largest in the country and could handle 6 million passengers a year. Funny enough, this building saw 9.5 million in the first year of operation. In 1971, the airport was renamed to William B. Hartsfield Atlanta Airport in honor of Atlanta Mayor William B. Hartsfield after his death, hence one of those names in the current Hartsfield-Jackson Atlanta International Airport. And this name change took effect on February 28, 1971, on what would have been Hartsfield's 81st birthday, but was then changed to William B. Hartsfield Atlanta International Airport later that year with the growth of international flights. In 1977, to address the significant increase of traffic, the airport began construction of the present Midfield Terminal Complex under the administration of Mayor Maynard Jackson. This was built as the largest construction project in the South, costing $500 million at the time. The new complex, initially costing of the North and South terminals, Concourses A through D, and the northern half of present-day Concourse T, which initially served as the international terminal, opened on September 21st, 1980, on time and on budget. In 1984, a fourth parallel runway at 9,000 feet was constructed on the north side, and then the closest southern runway was extended to 11,889 feet in 1985. The southern extension of Concourse T was opened in 1987, and then Concourse E itself opened in 1994 in anticipation of Atlanta hosting the '96 Summer Olympics, with Concourse T being solely converted to domestic flights. Now, 2001 saw the construction of the airport's fifth parallel runway that opened in 2006 on the very far side of the airport, that goes over to, I believe that's 285, as well as a new control tower that would become the tallest in the US that could oversee that runway just because of how far away it was from the rest of the airfield. In 2003, the airport was renamed to Hartsfield-Jackson Atlanta International Airport to honor former Mayor Maynard Jackson, who had died 4 months prior to that vote. Now, the city of Atlanta initially tried to drop the name Hartsfield from the airport, but public outcry prevented this from happening, and this was also around the time where they were trying to get rid of the Confederate flag, so probably not the best thing to do at the moment. Now, construction of this 5th parallel runway was at the time part of a new development program initiated in 1999 called Focus on the Future. This program would consist of multiple construction projects that would prepare the airport to handle a projected 121 million passengers in 2015. Originally costing $5.4 billion, the total cost would balloon to over $9 billion after the 2007 revision. Other projects included a new end-around taxiway, the new Maynard H. Jackson International Terminal, and Concourse F, among others. Now, with the completion of the new international terminal in 2012, a new master plan was initiated by the City of Atlanta's Department of Aviation to provide a guide for development along the airport until 2030. In this plan, there have been numerous projects going on to improve the airport, and some that are still in the planning stages. Now, to start off with, let's take a look at the airfield facilities, and mainly the runways at Hartsfield. So currently, we have 5 runways. So the first one we have is one on the very north side that's connected to the North Cargo stuff. That is runway 8L26R at 9,000 feet. Then right next to that is 8R26L at 10,000 feet, which is the second longest runway. Then on the other side of the terminal complex, we have runway 9L27R at 12,390 feet, which is the longest at the airport. And then we have runway 9R27L next to that at 9,000 feet. And then on the very far south side, we have runway 1028 at 9,000 feet. Now, with this new 6th runway, there were 3 areas that were being looked at. This was one of them, so it would have taken up pretty much a lot of this north terminal complex, but there's a reason why it wasn't built, and you could pretty much see why it wasn't built. The reason why it wasn't being looked at is because there would be significant locations of Delta's general offices, because this is where Delta's headquarters is, as well as the impacts along Haverville and Virginia Avenues, as well as having to cross Interstate 85. The only upside is this would have balanced the amount of runways on both sides of the airfield, but again, this would have incurred significant impacts. The second area that was being studied was actually south of 285. So this would have been this area right over here. And the reason why they would have done that is this is what's known as a widely spaced runway. But again, a lot more commercial residential impacts would have occurred if this would have been built. Now, the third option is right over in the midfield. Even though this is a closer spaced runway, what they would do is they just build it right here. It would be closer to 1028. And this is the area that it would be built at. It'd be south of all of these. It would be just to the south of the South Cargo facility. And it would just sit right along here. So it wouldn't be too much to do. It sits on airport property as well. So there wouldn't be too much to do. Now, on top of the 6th runway, runway 8R26L. So that is the second longest runway. That is the airport sitting on just to the north of the midfield terminal complex. This would be extended to the east about 1,200 feet. So going from 10,000 feet to 11,200 feet to accommodate the traffic of this runway in case it were to shut down for any sort of reason. With possible gate expansions as well, there would also be a brand new taxiway on the very east side where Delta's cargo maintenance facilities are located. But again, we'll talk about that later. Next up, we're going to take a look at the terminal gate facilities. Taking a look at this is the domestic terminal. So this is the Central Terminal Cargo Facility. When it was originally built, it had 2 separate areas, one for international flights and one for domestic flights. But now that the international terminal is over here and all of the international processing is over here as well, this still has more than enough space to be able to expand. And there's no reason for it until 2030, up till 2030, that they could possibly relook at maybe building more on top of this. Now again, taking a look at the terminals, these are the main terminals here. So you've got T, A, B, C, D, and E. Now, all of the, I think T through D have already gone through a terminal modernization program, like with D, I think, being the last one to do so. And the main reason why, you can kind of see it here, is because Terminal D is actually going through a complete rebuild. And the reason for that is because most of the other terminals are about 200 feet wide. So what they're doing is they're going to chop up the airport, they're going to chop up that terminal into pieces, and one by one, they're going to take each piece, basically just take it out, and they'll roll in a new piece. Kind of like what they're doing with Terminal F, where they're going to build it off-site, and then they'll roll it in. So they're going to do that with those runways as well. Believe that's pretty much it, at least when it comes to Terminal D. There's about 19 of those pieces that are going to be built. It's just going to take a little bit longer to do that. And I believe that's probably the last thing that's being done on the main terminal. But another one of the big things is the addition of 3 new concourses. So the first one is going to be Concourse G, which is going to be built in place of Delta's cargo facility here, as well as this new West Atlanta building. And then in the longer future, they're going to build 2 more concourses, H and I, in this area where the USPS office is, as well as the rest of Delta Airlines' cargo and a lot of these smaller buildings. Now, in this master plan, everything imagined in this plan was split between what's known as short range and long range developments. Now, short range is anywhere between now and 10 years. And then long range is from 11 to 20 years. Now, if we take a look at the master plan, this is kind of just the executive summary, because I haven't found the official. I don't remember where I found the official thing. A couple of things have been done. So number 1, the 9L end around taxiway is complete. That is what this is here. So what they did is, I don't remember what taxiway. Oh, this is taxiway L. So they connected taxiway L with I don't remember what taxiway this is here. That sits between 9R and 9L, but that's what connects them. And the reason for that is because most of their flights will take off and land to the west, and will land coming from the east and taking off to the west. It's better just building an end-around taxiway around there so you can get to the gate. Another one that we've talked about is, again, the terminal modernization programs. There is going to be a new plane turnback location. When they're talking about a plane turnback, this isn't for the unmanned people mover, because they technically have 2. They have one for all of the gates, which when they do add the concourses outside of H and I for long term, that's when they're going to extend this current people mover system from the gates. They do have a people mover system that connects the airport to the Georgia International Convention Center and the ensuing hotels, as well as the consolidated rent-a-car facility that's off-site now instead of it being over here. Outside of that, again, Concourse G is considered to be part of that. On the very east side of 75, there's a set of 4 warehouses that it looks like they want to buy out. And these 4 here, these are the 4 that they're talking about. What they'll do is they're going to try and build a road going over at some point. But the reason why that they want to buy those out is so that they can relocate Delta's cargo facility so that they can build G, which is going to come out here and go here, so that they have enough space here for all of the tarmac and all that stuff. That's one of them. Another one is the consolidation of their maintenance facilities on the very south side of the airport. So south of 285 is where they're going to build that, or at least where they'll do that. And that's what all of these buildings are here. This is going to be that's where all the maintenance facilities are going to be. And you can see they've built the road over for that. And then over here in this area is going to be the North Cargo expansion, the South Cargo expansion area. So what they'll do, this is a vacant city hangar here, and what they'll do is going to tear this out. They're going to build 2 large hangars that go here, and then another one that goes here, so that they can then fill in the tarmac here and have, well, more cargo facilities. Because if I'm correct, and I'm again, I might be wrong too, they might try and take out some of this area here for from cargo, and then just move it down here because there's more space. And if I remember right, it's taking a look at here. So on top of like those that are like either on the airfield or with the gates, some of the actual landside stuff that's going to happen is all going to be where the parking lot is up here. So the first thing they're going to do is they're going to take all these 2 parking garages and they're going to rebuild them to 8-story parking garages. And part of that is because they did lose the West Economy lot. And if you take a look at this too, this lot is gone as well. And I know they took out a significant chunk of the park ride lot to build in this taxiway. Since this is, I think this is the taxi staging area, and these were originally some rental car facilities. They don't use it anymore. So what they're going to do is they're going to build some new commercial development over here, which will include a full-size hotel. There's probably going to be a travel plaza here as well, among other things. Like there might be some other like warehouses, offices. But to be honest, what they probably could do is they could maybe add another hotel or 2, because in the long term, they're going to have to tear out all of these hotels and warehouses here to build the 6th runway as stuff goes on. And I think I got through most of that on there. Yes, I did. Now, when it comes to the long-term development, this is what we've got so far. As I've said before, we're going to have concourses H and I. So that will include the relocation of the rest of the Delta Airline facilities, as well as these facilities and the USPS facility. And what they'll probably do is they're going to buy these 2 facilities and probably this substation here. They can't really move a substation, so they're probably going to like maybe build another thing here. But these will now be bought up by the airport, and this will be the second phase of the support facilities relocation for Delta. Now, when it comes to building out some of the other stuff, again, you've got the 6th runway that'll be built. Let me zoom out a little bit here. That'll be built right along here, and you can kind of get and as I just showed before, you get a better picture of that 9,000-foot runway, and then you'll get another taxiway that'll connect this up to, I believe this is taxiway R right here. And on top of that, they're going to expand the 9L wraparound to encompass 9R, so that if they're landing in this way, you don't have to just go here, you can just go around like that. On top of that, there are 2 locations to relocate the North Cargo. I don't know if they're going to tear all these out, but I would bet that they might phase these out sooner or later. And they might even try to relocate some of Delta's offices out of there so that they don't really disrupt that much up here, is my guess. That might be for the next plan in like 5 years, if that happens. But this whole area here, there's going to be about 4 or 5 new cargo facilities, which is supposed to be the supposed North Cargo expansion and relocation. The other location that they could do is going to be this area over here, where they could just take these and just be like, yep, these are ours. We're going to use these to relocate some of this cargo, since everything's now going to be on the south side, which would make some sense. You've already got some roads that connect up, so it wouldn't be too hard to really locate everything over there. There's going to probably be a little bit of expansions for the southern support facilities, so maybe like a little bit of I think they've already done stuff here for the expansions of these facilities, but they're going to probably relocate some of these fire stations, like just for better locations around the airports. Also, they're going to redo some of the tarmac here just to better accommodate concourses H and I. And then, as I said before, they're going to build a new wraparound a new taxiway that'll connect up here with the expansion of 26L over here, and I believe that is all that I have covered on all of that stuff. I mean, there's still a lot that they're going to do, but this is about what they're going to do with their current master plan. Now, with Hartsfield-Jackson, Atlanta being the busiest airport in the world, and again, will most likely set a new passenger record for 2024, this airport still does have a lot of potential. With it also having the largest hub in the world, the airport is preparing itself for expansion to keep its title as the busiest airport in the world. As more and more people are also starting to move into Atlanta, they need to bring out some more international flights, especially with Atlanta pretty much just moving all its international flights to Atlanta. Well, yeah, Delta moving all its international flights to Atlanta. How long will they keep the title as the busiest airport in the world? Well, since this airport's been the busiest airport since 1998, not including 2020, you could probably see why. You probably know why. I mean, the entire airport industry went down by like 66% in 2020. But time will tell if any other airport will come even close to challenging Hartsfield-Jackson in terms of passenger numbers. But with that, we're going to end it here. Thank you guys so much for watching today's video over Hartsfield-Jackson Atlanta International Airport. I'm going to be honest, I didn't realize until after I posted the Seattle-Tacoma Airport video that this was actually the airport that I didn't cover, in that Seattle-Tacoma was the airport that I was still working on, but like had never made the video on. But with that, we do have a lot more airports coming. We're going to start going through the rest of that list that I've made so far that I want to talk about for airports, but it's all going to be coming over again every week for the next several months. If you liked what you guys just watched, again, make sure you guys like and subscribe down below. If you don't want to miss any future videos, whether it's our aviation, automotive, or mountain bike videos, as well as our titanium weather broadcasts on TikTok, make sure you guys hit that bell icon so you're notified when those videos drop at their respective times. And hopefully I will get back to posting stuff at 8 a.m. Oh my word. Again, hope you all have a great rest of your day and a great weekend. Peace.